But bringing to the virtual stage right now, colleague of mine, friend from Denver, and well-known national speaker, author, just released a book yesterday, Gerry O'Brion. Gerry, it's hard to put into words all of who you are. I'm sure you've got it in a soundbite. I'd love to be able to edify you myself. But Gerry talks about the difference between your why and your because and how to really dive into what gives you a competitive advantage. So Gerry, welcome. I am just so thrilled that you would give us some of your time today.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Can you hear me all right and everything? Am I on? I'm good.
We're good. We're good.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having me. I just spoke this morning. I'm down in Miami, so I'm in a hotel room. So I'm hoping this will all run and the internet works and all that. So I am super excited to be here. Are you going to introduce me or should I introduce myself?
I kind of did a brief introduction there, but you're going to do a better
Yep.
job than I will. I can't do you justice.
No, there you're good. So here's what we're going to do today. I've only got 45 minutes with you. So we are going to pack it full. I've customized a presentation for you. Here is the thing. I am not an expert on AI. What's interesting, I happen to know Bruce Turkel and Verl and Sam Richter all really, really well, and Ross Bernstein, who he was just talking about. It was super interesting. But what I just saw in the last 15 minutes, just watching Sam, I'm like, wow, there is a lot I can do and use with AI. So you guys, I'm excited to go back and watch all the recordings. I didn't have any idea how valuable this must have been for you. But with me, you're going to get something a little bit different. I said, Rick, I'm not an expert at AI, but I do have something to share with your audience. So let me just give you a little bit of background about what I'm going to share, and then we'll just dive right into it. So I speak to probably 10,000 people a year on the topic of how do you be more influential? How do you close more sales in really crowded, competitive markets? How do you stand out in the sea of sameness? And Rick said, well, this will be perfect as we think about how to leverage AI. What are the things we should be doing and using, and the pieces of what we need to do to make sure that we are as influential as we can be in using AI to influence people? We've got to know that framework, that basic structure of influence. So, I am going to show you a 45 or maybe 40. I'm hoping it'll go a little short, so we've got some time for some Q&A version of the keynote that I deliver all over the globe to show companies how to be as influential as they can be. So as I think about realtors, and you guys all have had this example, as someone who is a person who has a house, and you go to sell your house, you're like, oh, I should call my friend who's a real estate agent. Yeah, you know the problem, right? I have 15 friends that are real estate agents or realtors or brokers or that do different things. We all do. So unless you're my best friend, which one of you am I going to call? So we must answer that question for ourselves, for our friends, for people who don't know us. If we need a real estate agent, how am I going to be the number one choice to either list or to be your buyer's agent or whatever? How am I going to stand out? Because you guys operate, I mean, I work in crowded competitive markets. You guys are in one of the most crowded competitive markets. You just are. So Tiger Woods was a famous golfer. The first year he ever played on the PGA tournament was 1996. Tiger Woods was 21 years old. That year, he won first place, 25% of all the tournaments that he entered. Is that a pretty good win rate? Huge, right? He's winning like no one had ever won at his age before. But by 2 years later, he was only winning 5%. Now, I don't know if you guys can put stuff in the chat or whatever. I'm going to ask you a few questions because this is, I can see the chat function. Let's see if I can see it. Let's go back. So he was only winning 5%. Can I open this up so I can actually see the chat? Here we go. All right. I'm going to put this in the corner so I can see the stuff you're saying. So does anyone know why he only won 5%? He changed something. Does anyone know what he changed? You know what he changed in 1998? Anyone? I'm watching the chat. Yes, Ashley. Tito. I don't know if everyone could see that. Tito, this is funny because in my live keynotes, people always say that. He changed his wife. No, that comes later. That was later. No, he changed his swing. So I want you to think about this. He's been golfing since he was 3, practicing his swing the same way for 20 years, winning like no one had ever won before. But he says, you know what? I think if I change my swing, I can win even more. But it's going to require me to be messy while I'm going through the change. By 2 years later, he's winning 45% of the tournaments that he. I think I got to get rid of the chat here. Let's see. By 2 years later, he's winning 45% of the tournaments that he enters. Then, like a lot of us in business, he plateaus, he gets comfortable, he changes his swing again. And by 2008, he's winning 67% of the tournaments that he enters. See those 5% years? This is why you do something like you're doing today. You invest your time. You listen to experts. You listen to people that are learning about AI. You listen to people that have different ideas. And you're going to take some of the things that you learned today and implement them in your business so that you can have that swing change moment, even though it might be frustrating. It might be messy. It might be uncomfortable for you. You can't continue to do the things the way you've always done them and expect to change the trajectory of your business, especially now when things like AI are changing everything. So what I'm going to give you is a framework of influence. Here's the truth. We're all in the business of influence. Every one of us, especially you. Now, you might have a property you really want someone to buy. You might have a client who you really want to choose you. There's all sorts of ways. You might have someone that you'd like to hire to bring into your firm. You might have someone you'd like to work with or work for that you want to influence them. In 2002, I had left my first job ever in marketing at Procter & Gamble, and I moved to Colorado to work for Coors Brewing Company in the marketing department. About 2 weeks after I get to Coors, there's a big marketing department offsite. And we're all leaving the office building to go to a hotel like 10 minutes away from the office building. I'm walking out of the office building, and I end up walking out next to the chief marketing officer of Coors Brewing Company. Now this gentleman was my boss's boss, the head of all marketing for $4 billion Coors Brewing Company. I'm walking out next to him, and he turns to me and he says, "Hey, Gerry, why don't you ride over there with me? And I'm brand new." I'm thinking, yeah, good opportunity to get to know the chief marketing officer. We walk out to his car. It's this big, brand new, super sleek Mercedes-Benz. And I'm thinking, yeah, successful. Then it occurs to me, I got 10 minutes with the chief marketing officer. I better ask him something really smart. So I look smart. So I'm thinking, what am I going to ask? What am I going to ask? I'm ticking through the questions in my mind. I'm thinking, what is the most important marketing question of all? I sit down in the front seat of that car. He pulls out. I turn to him and I ask him this question. I say, "Lee, why is it that a consumer, right, those people that give us their money, why is it that a consumer chooses to buy one beer versus another beer?" Now I'm thinking he's about to give me a 10-minute lesson on how people choose and how we as marketers influence them to choose us. Instead, he turns to me and he says, "Well, geez, Gerry, if I knew the answer to that question, we'd all be rich." I'm thinking, you appear to be rich, and you're the head of marketing for a $4 billion beer company, and you don't know how we influence customers to buy this versus that. I spent the rest of my career creating and honing the framework of influence that you're going to see today, mostly used to influence customers to say yes to you, but also used to influence anyone, influence employees to work for you, influence the bank to give you money, influence people. Here's how you do it. Here's the problem. Nobody buys anything. We use that language. I'm going to go to the mall. I'm going to buy a shirt. I'm going to the dealer. I'm going to buy a car. I'm going to buy a house. But the activity isn't buying anything. The activity is choosing. between options. And this is what your clients and your customers do all day. It's what you literally do for a living. You got all these houses, you got to choose one and hope that you don't get outbid on it, even though interest rates are sky high, right? Like the whole thing is crazy right now. We choose between options. A few years ago, I'm at home. I'm making ribs. I realize I'm out of barbecue sauce, so I run down to the grocery store to buy barbecue sauce. How many kinds of barbecue sauce are at the grocery store? Yeah, a lot. I go to the grocery store, 42 kinds of barbecue sauce. So I go there to buy. But I'm faced with choosing between all the options. Here's the truth, and you know it's true. To your prospective clients, especially the ones who don't know you, you look like barbecue sauce. And they're trying to figure out which is the right real estate agent to work with me. And they don't want to make a mistake. They want to make a good choice. Which is the right person to list my house? And you look like barbecue sauce. And if your label on your business, your website, your one-on-one conversations, your materials, your videos, whatever you use to communicate to the world about your business, if your label looks the same as all the other real estate professionals out there, you haven't given me a reason to choose you. You've just made me more confused. And I don't want to be confused. Remember, I want certainty that I'm making a good call. And it's your job to give them that certainty. So we must answer this question. You should buy from us. You should hire us. You should have me list your house versus everyone else, because I want you to think about this. I want you to think or write down your best ending to this sentence. If you were telling me, oh, you should use me as your real estate agent versus, Rick, Rick, use me instead. Because what are you going to say to finish this sentence to convince me to use you versus your next best competitor versus any of the other 10 people that I know who are also my friends? You should buy from me. You should hire me because... Now, this is important. Last time you gave a referral, wouldn't we all like more referrals? You got in your business, referrals critical. Last time you gave a referral, you know what you did? You told someone, oh, you got to go down to this restaurant. We try this new restaurant. You got to go there because... When you're making a referral, you literally say the word because, and then you fill in the most compelling words you can think of to convince someone to take your referral. What do you wish someone who was making a referral for you would say after the word because? Oh, you got to use Rick, because if you don't know what to say, neither do your clients, neither do your referral partners. What do you wish they would say, and what do you say after you fill in the word because? That's where we're going to go from here. If you want to influence people's choices, you must understand how they choose. So we're going to start with understanding how people choose. People choose things in their brains, and they're partly rational and partly emotional, because that's the way our brains work. For hundreds of years, economists have been operating based on the assumption that we make rational, logical decisions, right? Prices go up, demand goes down. Prices go down, demand goes up. Yep, that would be logical and rational. Are we always logical and rational when we make decisions? No. No, we are emotional people. We make emotional decisions. For over 100 years, marketers like me have been talking to you about making marketing to your emotions. Hey, buy from us. You'll look better. You'll have more money. You'll be more popular. We appeal to your emotions. I know Bruce Turkel really well. Bruce probably talked to you about your emotions, the emotional component of it today. And here's the truth. Have you ever seen like a Super Bowl commercial, made you laugh, made you cry, made you emotional? Later, you're talking to somebody about it. Oh my gosh, did you see that one commercial with the da-da-da-da-da-da? Oh yeah, I saw that one. What was that for? Oh, I don't remember, but it was so funny. Yeah, emotion for the sake of emotion doesn't sell anything. If you're out there in the world saying, I'll help you find the home where your family will live for your future. Yeah, that's great. It's very emotional. But why would I hire you versus anybody else? If you're only giving me the emotional appeal, You haven't finished the sentence of influence. So, Gerry, if neither of these works, what do we do? Here's what we found out. The 2002 Nobel Prize winner in economics was not an economist. He was a psychologist that unraveled how our brains make these decisions. And what he was able to show is that, yes, no surprise, we do make emotional decisions. But your brain, your subconscious, your gut is looking for rational, logical proof that you're making a good call. I like to put it this way. Your brain needs a rational reason to make that emotional decision. I might want to do business with Rick because I like Rick. Yeah, I like him. And then my spouse or significant other or whoever says, yeah, I'm glad you like him, but why would we use him versus Sally, Sue, Bill? And you're looking for a rational reason to prove that you're making a good call. The reason I give you that example is because this is extraordinarily important when you are influencing someone who then needs to go influence someone else and you're not even in the room. That's when your because becomes really important. I might like you and I'll do business with you, but if someone else is involved in the decision and they don't know you, now we need some rational, logical proof. Oh, because Rick specializes in this neighborhood. He specializes in houses just like hers. He specializes in people, and because he has got a track record, because he's sold this much in houses, because his statistics show that if you list with Rick, you can sell in whatever. We're looking for some rational, logical proof that gives us certainty. So there are 4 questions that make up the framework of influence that I'm going to show you today. These 4 questions have been delivered to thousands of people across hundreds of industries. I've spoken to the real estate industry, I've spoken to financial advisory, I've spoken to attorneys, I've spoken to manufacturers, you name it. These 4 questions make up a framework of influence that you can use regardless of who you're selling to or what you're selling. In this case, we're talking about realtors, real estate agents, people who work in the real estate industry. You guys might serve all sorts of different sections or functions in the real estate industry. How do we influence? Now, you guys are in what I would call professional services, right? And so I've got some specific ideas for you in terms of being more influential. The 4 questions, many of the case studies I'm about to show you are like B2C case studies. And you guys sell generally, many of you, to consumers, but this also works B2B. If you sold to businesses or if you're in industrial or commercial real estate, same thing's going to apply to you. Question number 1. Who are your ideal customers? Who's really ideal for you? Now, I'm going to give you an example. It has nothing to do with your industry. This is an auto repair shop. Now, this gentleman was a certified auto mechanic. He'd always wanted to be an entrepreneur. So he leased a 2-bay auto repair shop. He opened it up and he named it 6th Avenue Auto. Good name. Okay. But here's the thing. He specialized in only 2 kinds of cars. Yeah, imports and domestics. I'm pretty sure that's all of them. That pretty much covers all of them. Because he thought that once he opened his own shop, everyone within 3 miles around of that shop would come in and buy from him just because he existed. I became a realtor. I became a real estate agent, and every one of my friends is going to sell their house with me, except for I know 9 others, right? So he had a problem. Not that many people were coming into his shop. So he started doing what people do. He started marketing. So in his case, he put door hangers all out around with his target customers, 3 miles around the shop. Come into 6th Avenue Auto and get a $20 oil change. People all flooded in for a $20 oil change. Not many of them came back. Darn it, darn marketing. He said, but Gerry, do you know what I realized? When all those people were coming in for the $20 oil change, now he's getting insights from his customers. I said, what did you realize? He goes, seems like a lot of people in this neighborhood, they drive Audis and Volkswagens. I'm like, oh, okay. What'd you do? He goes, well, I changed my website to say, check out this website, no joke. We specialize in Audis and Volkswagen. I'm like, dude, that big sign you have out front, that is not a picture of an Audi or a Volkswagen. He's like, I know. That sign cost me $2,000 and I couldn't afford to change it. I didn't have any money left. So I just changed the website because it was free. I said, what happened? He said, well, here's the thing. People didn't start coming in from within 3 miles around. They started coming in from all over the whole city. He goes, do you know why? Now he's got the insight. I said, why? He goes, turns out, now this is a good one for all of you. Turns out there's a lot of people out there that don't want to pay to go to the dealership, but they do want to go to someone who specializes in their kind of car. Over and over when I work with people, especially people in professional services, the more clear you are on who you are perfect for, the more clear those people will be that you are perfect for them. If you work in real estate and you're trying to sell to everyone, no one knows who to refer you to. No one knows or has certainty that you're the perfect person for me. No one believes that you are more valuable than anyone else because you're a generalist. The number one thing you can do to speed up the speed of your referrals, the efficiency of your business, is get clear on specificity. What do you do that no one else does? What do you do better than anyone else? What neighborhood do you specialize in? What property type do you specialize in? It's extraordinarily powerful and scary, especially if you're newer to the industry. Like, I got to sell anything to anybody. I just got to make some money. I hear you. Narrowing your focus is very powerful. The other thing that narrowing your focus does, it not only drives sales, it drives referrals, it drives efficiency, it makes your marketing easier and more efficient and the messaging more effective. And it gives you better insights about the customers you serve because you really, really understand how to serve them. Let me give you another example of specificity because you guys are really professional services kind of people. I want you to picture this. This is kind of a realtor example, but not exactly. You walk into a party. You meet somebody new and they say, what do you do? Or you ask them, what do you do? And they say, I'm a financial advisor. What do you want to do? Yeah, everyone gives the same answer. Run. Yeah, because the next thing is going to be like, hey, we should get coffee. No, I already have a financial advisor. No, we're good. We don't. No, not for you, of course. Well, we should have coffee. Maybe somebody or I should just get you. Yeah, no, you don't want to have coffee. That's not good. That's not good. If you meet a potential client and all they want to do is run away from you, and I tell this in financial advisor audiences, and they go, yeah, sounds about right. Now, there's a financial advisor I worked with. I've worked with a bunch of them. He says something else. Now, picture this. You walk into a party, you meet him. You say, what do you do? He says this. I'm a financial advisor, but I only work with very specific kinds of clients. Now, what do you want to know? Well, what kind of clients? Do you notice that for no other reason except specificity, you went from leaning out and wanting to run away to leaning in and wanting to learn more? You don't even know what kind of clients. You just want to, you're only special. What kind of clients? We want to learn more for no other reason than specificity. Now, in his case, he says, and this is what he specializes in. He says, I only work with self-made millionaires. I work with a small number of them, and we have a very specific, unique process we take them through during this really important transitional stage of their life. Now you're thinking, especially if you're Rick, right? I am one, right? No, I'm just kidding. Or, you know what? My aunt just sold her company. She should probably talk to you. Do you notice that we go from wanting to run away to wanting to give referrals for no other reason than specificity? Now, your specificity can be anything. I've worked with financial advisors that only work with college professors. I've worked with financial advisors, only work with police and fire professionals. I've worked with one, no joke. Well, this is a weird time for him, where he only works with workers on the Ford auto assembly line. That's it. You know how many he works with it? A lot. You know how well he knows that client type? Really, really well. If you only work with university professors, they're probably pretty similar. They want similar things. They have similar insights. Narrow your focus and your business will get easier. You'll get higher, you guys, I'm not sure if that's legal, but higher margins. You'll be more in demand and people will value your expertise. Your marketing will be easier. So question number 2, those ideal customers, those ones you really want to serve, that you serve really, really well. What are your insights about them. Now, this is critical. This is the crux of the entire framework. Understanding the mindset of the people that you are influencing. What do they want more of? What do they want less of? That's a pretty easy way to say it. What are those customers or clients that you want to get? What do they want more of and what do they want less of? This is the more emotional way to say it. What do they hope for? And what do they fear? What do they hope will happen if they hire you versus someone else? You got to know that. What are they really hoping will happen? It's easy to say, well, they hope they can sell their home faster or for more money, or that it's going to be an easier process. What do they fear? What do they fear will happen if they hire you versus the other person that I know or the other person I know? What do they fear? Even more powerfully, what do they fear will happen if they hire the other person and they don't hire you? What, and these, now, by the way, pay attention to the bottom part of the matrix. Brain science shows us that we are about twice as motivated to avoid what we don't want as we are to get what we do. What is it your clients want to avoid? Those are your insights. The other insights are, what is the real problem they want to solve? You know, and you're going to run into different things. The problem is speed, or the problem is money, or the problem is, what is it they're really trying to solve? And what expertise do you have that helps them solve their real problem? And what are their already accepted beliefs? What do you already believe, right? One of the accepted beliefs I'm sure you all run into is, I don't know, I'm sure I could just do this myself. I mean, can't I just post it on realtor.com for real cheap or something? Can't someone else do? Like, what do you guys really do? Doesn't it, the house pretty much sell itself, right? You might like your insights. You might really not like your insights. But you know what? If it's an accepted belief and people believe it, that is the field in which you are operating. That is what you are dealing with in terms of being able to be influential to people. It doesn't matter if you like your insights or hate them. All they are is a way for you to understand the mindset of the people that you are influencing. All right, here's and let's see if I can find the chat function again. I'm not very good at this virtual stuff. Chat function. 2 5-year stock charts of direct competitors. Now, the top one goes bankrupt in 2018, put out of the business by the one on the bottom. Any guesses as to what 2 companies those are? All right, let's see. Does anyone have a guess? 5-year stock charts. Blockbuster Netflix is one that I use a lot, but wrong, because Blockbuster went out of bankrupt in 2012. This is a new updated one. You guys probably don't remember. Anyone guess this on the bottom? Anyone? All right, I'm gonna reveal it to you then. Fine. Amazon versus Sears. Amazon versus Sears. Now, this is a funny one, right? Do any of you think, would any of you say you have a relationship with Amazon? Because many of you are out there going, yeah, but Gerry, we're in a relationship business. We get referrals. We're in a relationship business. You have a relationship with Amazon? Here's my relationship with Amazon. I've got a little hobby farm in Denver, and I've got Nigerian dwarf goats and ducks and chickens. And the goats always try to escape. You know why? I don't know why. Because they know they're not supposed to get out. And when they get out, you know what they do? They stand there and they go, ah, and then they eat the trees. They don't go anywhere. But so I'm always trying to fix the fence. So I run down to the Home Depot one day to buy 4-foot high, this welded wire fencing. Standing in the aisle of Home Depot, I don't really like the gauge. I get on my Amazon.com app in the aisle of Home Depot. I find the gauge of fencing I want, and it'll be on my front doorstep in 2 days. And it's got 450 reviews, 4.8 stars. I click yes. My relationship with Amazon, number one, they make it exceedingly easy for me to do business with them. How do you make it easier? Number two, they give me a great, effective communication all the way through my journey with them, from the time I click yes to the time it's on the truck, till the time it's 9 steps away, till the time it's got a picture on my doorstep and Alexa tells me it has arrived. How do we communicate effectively in the way our clients want? Here's the important one, the reason I'm showing you this. Amazon gives us certainty. We are making a good call. In their case, they do it by reviews. Look, there's 4.8 stars, 450 people say it's great. They've got pictures with their goats and their ducks and their chickens. It must be the right fencing for you. How do we give our clients and our customers certainty that we're making a good call? Customers want Let's see if I can get my thing rolling here again. Customers want certainty. They're making a good decision, and it's our opportunity to give them that certainty. So insights power your influence. Question number 3, what's your outcome? What do you promise to customers? The age-old marketing question is, who wants to buy a drill bit? The age-old answer is, nobody wants to buy a drill bit. They want to buy a hole, right? I showed this to a friend of mine, and she said, I don't get it. He said, it's not about the tool. It's not about the realtor. It's about what the tool does for you. It's about the outcome, the end game. She goes, I don't want to buy a drill bit or a hole. I want to buy like my shelf on the wall with all my books on it. They do want to buy what their life is going to look like after they move into a house, or after they've sold their house, or after you've helped them to transition and figure out all the logistics of what happens in between. And I don't have the down payment and this. They want their life to look like this. But if this is the only thing you're selling, it's easy for us to say, oh, your life is going to be amazing when you move into this new house. I'm left with, yeah, but why would I hire you versus the other realtor? If we only promise the outcome, if we only give you the vision of what it's going to like, we only make the promise and we don't finish the sentence of influence with your because, then we're not going to be compelling. So again, your brain needs the rational reason to make the emotional decision. If you stop with the emotional component and say, oh, what your life is going to look like, it's going to be so amazing, I still don't have the proof about why I should choose you. Your promise to them, your outcome is about them. Then you must finish the sentence of influence with your because. Understanding, question number 1, who are you influencing? Number 2, what are those insights about what those people were influencing? What do they care about more of or less of or hope for? What is the promise that we're going to make to you? The promise is that wonderful, emotional, great thing I'm going to promise. Then you must finish your sentence of influence with your because, your proof that you can deliver something different than all those other 10 people that kind of look just like you. The power of because. In the late 1970s, there's a woman named Ellen Langer. Ellen is the first ever female tenured professor at Harvard. She's a sociologist, and she studied how people were influenced to say yes. Here's how she did her original landmark study. There was a Xerox machine in the library at the university, and she would have a student walk up and try to cut in front of the line by saying different things. At first, she had the student walk up and say this, excuse me, I have 5 pages, a small ask. I have 5 pages. May I use the Xerox machine? 60% of the time, the person was like, oh, small ask, 5 pages. Sure, go ahead. No problem. 60%. We're trying to be more influential than 60%. She had the student walk up and say, try this. Give them a reason, like a because. Hey, I have 5 pages. May I use the Xerox machine because I'm in a rush. Oh, no problem. Small ask. You're in a rush. Happy to help. 94%. Then she said, I wonder if that because even matters. Like, could we just give them a nonsensical because and still be able to cut in front of the line? So she tried this. The student rolls up and says, hey, I got 5 pages. May I use the Xerox machine because I need to make copies? Yeah. 93% of the time, they let them cut in line. Now, why does this happen? What she was able to show is that with small asks, any because will do. It will make you more influential. It doesn't even barely matter what it is. Our brains are running a script. You should be looking at this going, Gerry, that's not going to work in a really crowded, competitive market. This study opens the New York Times best-selling book ever written on influence. It's called Influence by Professor Robert Cialdini. 5 million copies sold. He opens with this study, and you should be looking at it going, I don't think I can just say the word because and someone's magically going to choose me. That doesn't sound right. And you would be right. It's not going to work. Let me tell you why. Here's what Cialdini doesn't tell you in his book, and no one else tells you about this famous study. There was a second part to the study. In the second part to the study, they make a big ask. That's what you do every day in your business. Big, important ask to close your sale. You can't trick people into closing the sale. In the second part of the study, what they find is you can be influential when you're making a big, important ask, but your because matters. Your because makes all the difference. The proof about what you are going to deliver and how you're going to deliver it better than everyone else is what matters. Let me give you an example. Papa John's Pizza, their slogan, better ingredients, better pizza. Great. It's a slogan. It's a tagline. Wonderful. Fine. Why am I showing you this? This shows you the framework. Question number 3, what's your outcome? The outcome is better pizza. I want you to listen to this. Tune in your ears. I'm Gerry. I'm going to open up a pizza company. Ready? Here's my marketing. Hey, come on into Gerry's Pizza. Our pizza's better. Does that make you want to buy? No, it sounds like marketing fluff because I haven't finished the sentence of influence. Our pizza's better because, now in their case, they say we've got better ingredients. They got sued by Pizza Hut. $9 billion Pizza Hut. This is in way back when Papa John's was a tiny little startup company, 1997. $9 billion Pizza Hut sues them, so you can't say your pizza's better. Papa John's in federal court wins the lawsuit. Now they got it because the federal court says our pizza tastes better than Pizza Hut. They won the lawsuit because their pizza uses fresh sliced tomatoes and filtered water, and Pizza Hut does not. But it gave their company clarity about what do they deliver and what's the proof that they deliver it better than everyone else. I want you to think about this for you. What is your promise? What are you going to deliver? And what's the proof you can deliver that better than everyone else? When I was the brand manager of Coors Light, I rolled out this. You probably have heard of the Coors Light bottle where the mountains turn blue when they're cold enough to drink. I rolled that one out too. This one comes before that one. Check out what this one is. This is the Coors Light Frost Brew Liner can. Inside the can, there's a blue liner. Over and over, audiences say, Gerry, I say, what do you think the liner does? And they're like, oh, it keeps it colder. I'm like, or look at the tagline. It locks in refreshing frost brewed taste. Yeah. Some of you are like, wait a minute. Isn't that just what a can does? Yeah. Here's the secret of the frost brew liner can. Every aluminum can ever made has had a liner inside of it. You can't put beer next to aluminum or it will corrode. There's always been a clear liner inside the can. There is no such thing as canned beer taste, turns out. There's a liner inside the can. We turned ours blue and told you it existed. And the first year we did that, Coors Light can sales increased by $100 million because we turned the liner blue. Now, what I'm not saying is you should be misleading to your customers. But what I am saying is there are things you're already doing in your profession that make you different, that make you better, that give you better expertise, that give me certainty. And many times those things are your best kept secret. What are your becauses? What is your blue liner? What is your better ingredients? What are you doing that's unique or distinct from everyone that no one else is doing? I'm going to skip the next case study because I want to show you the very ending. Your because makes what you say more believable. I believe you can deliver what you're going to say because you've given me the proof. You not only given me a promise, you've given me the proof. And it makes it more repeatable. Now I know what to say on your behalf when I'm referring you to someone else. Oh, this financial advisor, you got to talk to him. He specializes in self-made millionaires, and he's got this very unique, specific process he uses to help people navigate this thing. What do you wish your customers and clients were saying about you when they were making a referral to you? You've got to go with them because what's your proof that you're going to deliver? We'll talk about it in a second, but there are 20 different ways to create becauses. And there are case studies for all of them. They are actually outlined in my book. There is just, Rick just mentioned, my book just launched yesterday, and they're all in there. I'm going to show you ways to get them too. Your because is about you. It's about what you do and how you deliver what you do. So I'm going to show you really quickly how we made an incremental $250 million a year on the Coors Light business using this exact framework. All light beer is basically the same. Guys will tell you, no, I'm a Bud Light, I'm a Coors Light guy, I'm a Miller. And turns out when they blind taste test them, you can't pick your beer out of the lineup. So question number 1, who's the ideal customer for light beer? Who are you trying to focus on? 21 to 24-year-old men. The reason is because men drink 75% of the beer in the United States. 21 to 24-year-old men, no joke, drink 8 times more light beer than older men. Very focused customer. So we asked a bunch of them, what do you want from light beer? And here's what they told us. We want good taste, value, relaxation, low carbs, low calories, socialization, refreshment. Cold beer. Thanks, guys. Really helpful and funny ads. Here's the thing. What I want you to do in your business for your specific customers, what are the insights about your customers? What do they care about? If you specialize in investors, if you specialize in the sell side or the buy side, if you specialize in a certain neighborhood, those insights will be clear to you. You might have 20, 30 insights. Generally, you're going to be able to narrow that to a list of 6 to 8, something like that. What are the insights about your customers? Then look at your competitors and say, what are they doing? Miller Lite still today talking about great taste and less filling, low carbs and calories. Bud Light all about the socialization, look cool at the party and the funny ads. Corona is all about the relaxation, right? So you're left with value, no, refreshment, and cold beer. We had a year-long debate on Coors Light about whether we could convince anyone that our beer was colder. Colder than what? Colder than the other beer in the same refrigerator? Like, no one is going to believe us. This is where it gets good. You're like, I'm the same as everyone else. That works in my, okay. That's why you use this framework, because sometimes you have to innovate. You know who your ideal customers are, the insights about them, the outcome, the promise you want to make is cold beer. Oh, what's your because? What's the proof that you're going to be able to deliver what you say you're going to deliver? And if you don't have a good because, you sound like everyone else. So we had to innovate. First, we came out with a blue liner in the can. Then we came out with a cooler box. It's an 18-pack of plastic bottles with essentially a blue garbage bag in it. So you can put ice in the box. Okay, come on. They're 21 years old, right? Work with me. They're super cold draft. Coors Light does not freeze at 32 degrees. It freezes at 27.4. So we created a draft system that would pour Coors Light below freezing. Yes. Then we came out with the one you've seen, cold activated bottle. Mountains turn blue when it's cold enough to drink. Can turns blue when it's cold enough to drink. Look at what we did. We took a commoditized product and gave it a because it's got a blue liner in the can, because you can put ice in the box, because it's poured below freezing, because it tells you when it's cold enough to drink. What is your because? What is the thing you're going to do that's different from everyone else out there? Look closely at your specificity. Trust me, this is going to be a valuable thing for you. There's the whole framework. We got through the first 4 questions of the framework. If you want to see the entire framework, I'm about to give you a QR code to buy the book. Literally, it went live on Amazon yesterday. The entire framework for the first time ever is outlined with 40 different case studies in the book. If you want to be able to implement this framework, by far, the cheapest, easiest way, fastest way to do it is buy the book. It's worth your time. There is the QR code for the book. If you scan that, it'll take you right to Amazon. Do it quick. Rick can send it out later too, via email or whatever. I'm also going to say, if you want to get a PDF version of the presentation you just saw, you can text the word because to 33777. It will automatically text you back. You put in your email and you'll get the PDF of the presentation you just saw. There's my email address. That's the correct spelling of my name for LinkedIn. And so we've got like 3 minutes or something for questions, I think. So
You
I wanted to
you actually can run
in.
long, Gerry. You can run long. We can be
Oh,
flexible.
we
on
can?
this next one. Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. I know I just gave you a lot of information. Are there any questions?
My head's blowing up, Gerry. That was amazing. I've wanted to hear you speak for over 10 years, and this is my first opportunity. Is such a gift.
Well, it's
Lenore is saying they need the QR code again, and the 33777 does not work for Canada.
Oh, correct. It doesn't work for Canada. I'll tell you what, if you're in Canada, here, hold on. There's the QR code. If you're in Canada, just email me and I'll just email it to you. I didn't even think about the fact that we have Canadian people. I know it does not work in Canada. And I'm going to switch it to a QR code so it works for everybody. I just been a little busy launching the book, but there's the QR code for the book. If you just type in "they buy your because" into Amazon, it will pop right up to the top.
That's really great, eh?
Yeah, it's good, great. But here, I'm going to go back to if you just email me at Gerry with a G at What Big Brands Know, just shoot me an email and I'll send you the PDF of the presentation. No problem.
So someone's asking the best way to leverage these concepts with AI, and I'm going to jump in here for a little bit because Gerry started off saying, this is AI is not my wheelhouse.
My first step would be download Chat GPT. Yeah.
So what I would do is I would leverage that framework and ask Chat GPT to walk you through that framework, right? Buy the book, look at the case studies, go to the 7 points. I think it was 7 points if I remember the slide.
Yep.
And then have Chat GPT help you answer the questions. Use Chat GPT as your coach to walk you through the framework. Help it help you find your influence, find your niche. Because if you already knew how to do this, you would have done it. And that's why we turn to experts like Gerry, because he can break it down. He can show you examples. You can look at the presentation on the PDF. You can buy the book. You can engage with him directly, but put in some examples, put in the framework, and have ChatGPT help you figure out how to answer those questions. That's one way I would use it.
Rick, you're so smart. I was watching the end of Sam's presentation and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm seriously going to do this. Like you could literally, like for your, let's say that you were, this would be hilarious to do. I don't know what it would do with this. Let's say that you were selling industrial real estate. You could literally go in and say, what are the top insights for people that are buying or sell, like buying industrial real estate? What do they care about, right? The most. It'd be fascinating to see. Now for houses, it would be way better. What are the top 10 insights, top 20 insights for people buying a house? What do they care about the most, right? And it's going to say things like you guys know, right? Like school systems, price, interest rates. It would be fascinating to take this framework and just crank it through and see what it said for your city or for your neighborhood or for your specialization, right? I think that would be brilliant.
All yeah, 100%. And then when you figure out their insights, when you figure out what your competitive advantage is, right? Like, hey, I sell homes. I provide professional photography, 3D modeling. And I was once asked this by a real estate coach. He's like, what do you do differently? And I said, oh, I provide the best customer service. And I'm on top of my communication. And I provide professional photos and professional video and 3D models and floor plans. And I provide single property websites. And I put them out on the MLS and I syndicate to 30,000 different websites. And he said, dude, that's table stakes. That's just to be a realtor. What's your competitive advantage? Yep. What makes you different? And that's where you start diving into this framework is the table stakes are not, I'm the best, I'm the greatest, I do all of this stuff. That's just stuff. And like you said, that's table stakes. That's what you need to get to play blackjack. It's a $20 buy-in, right? That's what table stakes means. It's not about that. It's about diving into this framework and then figuring out, okay, if, I love that slide about the beer, the 3 different beers versus Coors Light, because what is left? And then how do I present that what is left as a very unique competitive advantage that you can only get through me? And working with ChatGPT as a conversation to spark your insight, to uncover dust away the cobwebs and uncover something that might be in the attic up here that you take for granted. Like for me, I'm a former attorney. I have an MBA in marketing. I take that for granted, but there aren't a lot of real estate agents that are a former attorney in real estate and contract law that have an MBA in marketing. Well, how can I dust that off to make that an insight that becomes part of my because?
Yeah. So Rick, a couple of thoughts. Number one, you're so right. Just this morning, I was presenting to I'm down in Miami. I was presenting to a bunch of CEOs, and one of them talked about, oh yeah, well, we do all these things. And he was like, oh, we do this, we do this, we do this. And I said, okay, well, then the next question, 100% of the time, the next question is, does anyone else do that too? And he's like, well, yeah, everyone does that. Okay. Now you're back to square one. You're like, okay, let's keep digging until we find some things that not everyone else does. So whenever you're using this framework, say, these are all the things we do. And then say, does anyone else do that too? So we had a question on, okay, now you got all this stuff. How do you put it out there? And that is going to be 100% dependent on you. There are no right or wrong answers. But one of the questions was about videos. Videos, if you can get clients or prospective clients to watch them, can be very, very valuable. Now, in my normal keynote, I didn't do it today because virtually a lot of times they don't work. I show videos of commercials that work and commercials that don't work because they have a because or don't have a because. And I think a lot of times people are like, well, Gerry, I'm not going to make a TV commercial. Yeah, maybe you're not going to make a TV commercial, but I always say, should you be using video somewhere in your sales process? Probably the answer is yes. The question is, if I was going to hire you versus someone else, what would you say in your video that would convince me to hire you? And the framework you just saw, who are you influencing? Insights, outcome, because that is the structure of an influential video. It's the same way we make TV commercials. I made TV commercials that sold billions of dollars of soap and beer and burgers at Red Robin and at Procter and Gamble and at Coors. And what you don't know is that every well-made big national ad has a because in it. And that's how you're convinced to buy. They've got proof. Watch the ads now and see. So when you're making your video, what are your becauses? What makes you special? What is the proof you're going to deliver versus everyone else? As far as where else is your biggest bang for your buck, that is something where I can help you figure out a great message. Where to put it is not my specialty. So I can't even begin to answer that, depending on where you are and what you do and what your costs are per thousand and click and direct. I can tell you when I went to sell my house 8 years ago, I know a lot of realtors. You know who I went to? The one who had been direct mailing me as a specialization in my neighborhood since the day I moved into the house. I'm like, this person must know this neighborhood better than anyone. She's going to know exactly what this house is worth and how to market it to people who really want to live in this neighborhood. And specialization matters,
That insight right there is so valuable. How does a marketer get sold? How does a marketer choose barbecue sauce?
That's right.
Wow. And I remember going on a listing appointment one time, and I thought I was in. Like, I bonded with the family. We sat down at the kitchen table where they make their important decisions. I was going through all the right NLP techniques and everything else. Pet the dog. I was doing the whole 9 yards. Showed excitement and enthusiasm in the backyard, and all the things that were important to them about the house that they loved. And I lost the listing to the person who listed the house 10 years ago, that never stopped sending them direct mail for 10 years. And the reason why was A, they thought he specialized in the neighborhood, and B, they thought they owed him because he had been so thoughtful to follow up.
That is awesome.
And it cost him maybe 50 cents, 75 cents a month.
A month. Yeah. Yep. And that stuff, the specialization in your industry really actually is a very powerful piece of proof. It's a very powerful because. Oh, the other thing I wanted to mention too before we go is for the first time ever, normally, Rick, I speak to big audiences on stages. And I've implemented this framework with now hundreds of companies, but there's never been a way to get me to do it for you unless you can afford to bring me in, which isn't cheap. And sometimes we do multi-company things. Literally this week on my website is launching the online version of the course that takes you as if you're in one of my live workshops, step by step by step by step through actually doing the full keynote is there. Everything is there. The full workbook that I use with private company sessions is available in the online course, and it literally takes you through. So if you guys, I have a promo slide for that or whatever. It's literally launching right now. And I just shot a video 2 days ago that describes the course. You should check it out. If anyone really wants to go deep on this influence framework for your company, for the first time ever, we are going to have an online way that people can do it that can't afford an outrageously expensive daily fee. So,
Gerry, that's awesome. I didn't even know that was coming. I'm definitely going to take advantage of that. That's fantastic. And then, folks, if you want to then take this and learn how to use AI with it, I put something in the chat as well, something special I'm just doing for the folks here at the AI Summit, one-on-one coaching for a year where we blast through your obstacles, help you achieve your goals. Partner up with Gerry, figure out how you want to develop your because, and then partner up with me as far as how to get AI to amplify that message. I think that's a powerful 1-2 punch. Tito had a question. What if our desired niche is something we cannot show proof of? I want to sell a neighborhood that I haven't sold yet.
Yep, I love it. Do we have still another minute, Rick, that I can answer this?
I'm going to keep going.
Okay, good. So Tito, I saw your question. This is a really good one, right? This is like, hey, I really want to sell in this neighborhood, but I never have. So I got no proof, right? You know what I would do? Because I'm always looking for challenges like this, right? So Tito, here's what I would do. I would research, first of all, do this framework, get your list of insights. What do you think people in that neighborhood care about? So let's say that you were selling like in my neighborhood, right? And you said, okay, I want to sell in everyone around here. I would, first of all, put your list of insights. What do you think people in that neighborhood care about? Right? And there's a bunch of things like people in my neighborhood are all talking about right now. It's like, oh my gosh, so and so bought a house for so much and prices are skyrocketing, which means our taxes are skyrocketing and blah, 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 and all this stuff, right? Well, here's some insights right there. One is everyone thinks their taxes went up way too much. I would start to learn all their insights and then create content around those insights. So I would, and then maybe you do physical mailings, which you can't ignore. And if they're short and, succinct enough, you're going to send them to that neighborhood. You're going to say, hey, we just wrote an article about, taxes in your neighborhood and strategies for blah, blah, blah. And I'd be like, who's that, man? They're clearly an expert in my neighborhood. Oh, here's some content about the most recent X number of listings and what's happened in your neighborhood as far as the whatever. And I would do a bunch of research and provide a bunch of value and content based on what you think people in that neighborhood care about, and then start to put it out, lead them to your website with a direct mail or something like that, or like targeted, I don't know, advertising on Facebook or whatever. And then send them to your place to give them a bunch of expertise. And they're gonna be like, wow, Tito, man, he really knows our neighborhood. And they don't have to know you never bought or sold there, right? They just know you're an expert because you did more work than they did. That's what I would do. I love it. I kind of want to do that with you, Tito.
That's fantastic. That is really, really good. And people, I was at a conference yesterday because I'm constantly learning, and the conference was talking about one, they had a postcard with just a QR code on it, and of course all the license and brokerage information and kind of fine print big enough to read on the postcard, but it just had a QR code with one little call to action. And they said why, and that it was so distinct and so different. Like, you get this at this QR code. That was it. And they said the response rate was through the roof. Like, they sold 10 homes out of 4,000 mailers. So,
you guys should all do that, because I've never seen it before. And I would actually look at that and be like, oh, that's good. I'll try it out. Yep.
It was a $5,000 investment. They made $132,000 in commissions. That's a pretty good ROI.
That's not going to work forever. That's why you guys should all do it right now, because that's a brilliant idea. That's really smart. And they just taught it
to 500 people yesterday. But they asked, like, why are you not doing this? And I think the reason people don't do it is because they're like, well, A, I don't have $5,000. B, I don't know if it's going to work. So there's a perceived risk, right? There's a risk like, oh my gosh, I'm going to take this huge investment. I'm going to throw everything I have into this. What if it doesn't work? Right? What if I don't get one sale, 500,000, estimate $10 to $20,000 in commissions? I'm not going to, help price fix and get us sued by NAR. But they're like, what if it doesn't work? But your ROI, you're going to get at least 2, 3, 4x if you sell one house, but you might sell 10. And it's worth it if you know because, like, don't do that mailing if you don't have the backup fully set up. If you don't have a because set up, if you haven't worked with Gerry, if there's no reason for them to refer you, if there's no clear because why to choose you, don't do that mailing. That's just a waste of money. But if you have a follow-up system based off a set of principles that show you to be an expert, and you have those steps laid out, you bought the book, you've gone through the PDF, you've incorporated what Bruce is talking about and what Sam was talking about. Maybe you even have just technology, and you've bolstered that with your because, well, now you're bulletproof, and now that flyer works.
Yeah, Rick, that's so interesting. You're reminding me of like a speaker industry thing they always say, and this is old school, right? They said, you got to be ready when you get on the Today Show, or on what they used to say, Oprah or whatever. People would get on the show and then it led to nowhere because they weren't ready with the back end. They weren't ready with the book. They weren't ready to know, well, what were people going to get from me? How am I going to monetize this? Right. That, Rick, is another also example of specificity. If you're really clear on, like, let's say a particular neighborhood, your costs are going to be way lower to try out things like this. And you can do them more often to the same people. Right.
Yeah. In response to the chat, on this particular QR code is a home valuation. What's your home's value? QR code. That's not really that distinct. You can get home values anywhere. So if you knew, if you had worked through your because, I was kind of extrapolating on this QR code idea, and I know I'm kind of speaking fast. I get excited when I'm brainstorming. But if you wanted to go beyond the home value, you say, okay, well, here's my because. Like, find out how your taxes have changed this year. QR code. Or tax insights for this, property tax insights for this neighborhood. Or the appraisals just went out, and the county valuations just went out. County valuation issues, QR code.
Or here's what we've been talking about in my neighborhood, because I'm with you, Rick. You start to take the crux of this idea and you say, well, what are we going to do with that exactly? Here's an insight. I don't know if this is useful or not, but this is what my neighbors and I have been kind of talking about is, okay, all of our valuations went up 50%. Well, what does that mean to our taxes? Because they don't need 50% more revenue. We're still the same city. So now do they adjust the mill rate? And nobody knows how this actually works, right? So if you guys provided some expertise about what can you expect in pick the neighborhood or pick the whatever city, sub-city, whatever, where you want, that'd be an interesting one. Now that's just an insight for me. I don't know if other people think that, but we're like, everyone in my neighborhood's like, well, I don't understand. What are they going to do? Does that mean taxes are actually going up 50%? Or does it mean some percentage of that? And nobody seems to know. So you guys can go figure that out and let me know. I'd click on that QR code in a second, right? But it's an example of finding an insight and then you guys delivering expertise against that insight.
And then having the website to back up being on the Today Show.
Right. Having it when people visit, you better be ready. And here's another thought for you. Let's just take your website as an example. What do you want people to know and do first, second, and third when they get to your website? In big brands, it was always what we called the priority of communication. If someone showed up from your QR code to your website, you're going to give them the value that you promised on the QR code, but then what do you want them to see and do first, second, and third? Be very purposeful about their journey and be ready for it. If you're going to invest, be ready when they get there to know what you're trying to get them to see. And you guys can go look at my website, on the book website or whatever on mine. You can see, what am I trying to sell you? What am I trying to get you to do? In what order do you see things? And different pages have different orders because of that. So that's exactly right, Rick. Be ready and be purposeful about what you want them to see and do.
And a good example of not being ready is me. I'll be flat out. The reason I'm offering the reason I'm offering that one-on-one coaching for $750 is I don't have the back end built out. I don't have the funnel built out. I don't have the value proposition, the 16-word sales letter video. All of that stuff is coming. My because will be so strong that price will go up to $2,500. While I don't have that built out, I'm still offering the same value. I'm just offering it at $750. Once that's built out, once the 1, 2, 3 and the value proposition is all there, then you don't have to offer it at a discount anymore. Same thing for you as a realtor. When and you've got your videos showing like, hey, I specialize in Cherry Hills Village. Here's my video about the school. Here's my video about the coffee shops. Here's my video about the home values. Here's my video on what you get in the average home, the sales price, and the cost of living in Cherry Hills versus Greenwood Village. And you start having that site built out, and you have the 1, 2, 3 built out of why they should choose you, you're never going to have to defend why you're charging what you're charging, whatever that might be.
Like it. Well, hey, is Verl still coming on, or is he?
He's teaching a class right now, emotional intelligence and artificial intelligence, and he had this huge webinar. So he sent me a recording of his section, and I'm going to play that, which is why we have a little freedom and flexibility with his time slot.
Oh, good, because I was wondering, because I saw he was on, and you guys, I happen to know Verl as well. Verl is phenomenal, and what he is doing, I don't know what he's going to show you guys, but what he is doing with AI in his own business is unbelievable. He and I were in July, we were together and we were talking about what he's doing. Unbelievable.
Was that his Verl AI coaching?
Yes. Yes. Now I don't know where he is in the development because I haven't talked to him since July, but he was explaining to me what he's doing, and I'm like, dude, this is brilliant, brilliant stuff. So yeah. Good guy. Anyway, such a really just a nice human.
Yeah, and you just gave me a thought, like extrapolating on what he's doing, because he was on our first summit. And if I can, do I have a couple more minutes of your time, Gerry?
Sure, sure.
Okay, I gotta be respectful of that. So he was talking about how he's building out a coaching database, everything he's ever taught, every video he's ever made, every PDF and book, and all the coaching insights that he gives to the people who coach for him. And it's ask a coach, right? Like you can have this interactive thing. Building that out as a realtor and having an ask a realtor site, like you can't use realtor in a domain because it's a federally protected trademark, but to do that and have a really robust chatbot that answers the basic questions and build up that knowledge base, that could be that's a fun little business idea I might play with.
Yeah, that's actually kind of a fun, cool thing, right? That because you could do it for an entire industry. If you put enough content into it, then other people could use yours too, right? I mean, that's interesting. I don't know much about that stuff, but it's remarkable. I love the idea of taking my framework for an industry and then asking Chat GPT to like do the work. I think that's fucking brilliant. I'm gonna go do it.
Well, perhaps sometime, like, because next time you're in town, perhaps we can go have a little brainstorming session about how to make this something happen here.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you all. And I'm going to go back here real quick if I can. I'll show you that QR code for the book again.
Oh, please do.
And
Yeah. And
if anyone wants to get, I mean, and if you're going to get the book, please leave me a review. Evidently, when you launch a book on Amazon, the reviews are a big deal in the beginning. So
they are absolutely your initial sales and then your initial reviews. You guys can write a review on the book based off of just what you learned here today because it's been so phenomenal. Gerry, congratulations on the book. Congratulations just on your continued success. It's been fun watching you just continue to thrive, and the pictures of your goats up on Facebook are always cute.
Yeah, do I have any pictures of my goats here? Do you guys want to see a picture of the goats quick?
What were they? African pygmy goats or something?
I don't have any in this presentation. I have Nigerian dwarf goats.
That's close.
And normally at the end of my here they are. Okay, you guys got to see this. This is Craig and Carl. That's Craig and Carl, two of my goats, just thinking they look just cute as can be. So I'll leave you with that. And you guys have a great rest. I'm still seeing your
PowerPoint presentation. I'm not seeing Greg and Carl.
Oh no. How do here, let me try to do this. Stop share. And then we try to share again. I'm not an expert on technology. Super weird, right?
I'm clearly not too, because I had some Zoom issues to start this whole thing.
Because I speak loud. You see him now?
There we go.
No. Yeah, you got them. All right. Those are my little fellers. All right. You guys have a great rest of your day. I appreciate the time and good selling out there.
Thanks, Gerry. Very much appreciated.
All right. Have a good one. Bye-bye.